Thank you, Secretary Mnuchin. I'm a very nice guy, so I won't mention the press reports that say that over $1 billion in stimulus payments have gone to people who are deceased. But I will urge you to adhere quickly to the agreement that you've made with the Senate Small Business Committee to very quickly release the names and data about all PPP borrowers that have borrowed over $150,000. Chairman Powell, back on March 12th, I sent you a letter urging that you prohibit stock buybacks by banks. You have done so. Thank you very much. About 2 weeks ago, you went on the record to say I would think that it would be of concern if Congress were to pull back their support, having just said that there are 25 million people who have been dislodged from their job. I thank you for that advocacy, and I hope Congress listens. We need to do more to stimulate this economy under these circumstances. Secretary Mnuchin mentioned the support that he's providing to local and state governments, but that is all in the form of loans. And of course, almost all state and local governments can't run a deficit. So with their revenues down by hundreds of billions of dollars, I hope we pass the HEROES Act and actually provide aid to state and local governments. And one issue, Chairman Powell, for the Main Street lending program that is particularly relevant to commercial real estate is that if they get a loan from you, they violate the loan covenants that they have in their existing mortgage. I look forward to working with you on that. One possible solution is the bill that I submitted and we've had hearings on in this committee, the Business Borrowers Protection Act. Certainly getting a loan on a program that we've authorized because of the COVID crisis should not trigger and make a pre-existing mortgage immediately due and payable. I want to spend this morning at the White House with a few of our colleagues getting briefed on Russian involvement in Afghanistan. And it appears to me, Secretary Mnuchin, that they have been bold. They have killed our soldiers because when they do something else that we catch them on, we don't sanction them very much. The debate now is whether they took the obscene step of putting a bounty on the heads of individual soldiers, or whether they've limited their involvement to Afghanistan to just aiding the Taliban, but not correlating that aid to how many dead Americans this or that operation created. Of course, the response from the administration to this seems to be, well, let them into the G8 and otherwise help them. That kind of lax response will lead to more deceased American soldiers. Under the Chemical Weapons Act, which Congress passed a couple years ago, your department was supposed to sanction Russia for their violation of the Chemical Weapons Act when they used poison to try to assassinate a Russian dissident in Britain. But you opted for the weakest sanctions allowed by the act. It doesn't apply to ruble what it does is it prohibits certain loans from Americans to the Russian government. But it doesn't apply to ruble transactions. It doesn't apply to loans to state-owned enterprises. And it apparently doesn't apply to purchases in the secondary market. Given the fact that our under-sanctioning of Russia has led at least to their aiding the Taliban in a general sense, and according to press reports has led to the specific putting a bounty on our soldiers. Could you revisit your decision on this existing law and impose these bans on ruble transactions, state-owned enterprises, and secondary markets?
Well, you covered a lot of things.
It must be a tough question. You took off your mask.
Let me just comment on. We believe we followed the law and selected amongst a series of items at the time. But I'm happy to go back and I recall the situation. I'm happy to go back and look at it. again, I'm
There are
also
credible reports that they put bounties on our troops. Please look at it again.
well, again, on that, I just want to be clear. So, for the record, I am not commenting on classified information, nor do I think it's appropriate in this setting to talk about alleged information that's in the press.